What is up, guys? Nate here. Today I'm absolutely blown away to be able to show you guys the new daily driver, my new daily driver, and the new car to the channel. Believe me, guys, this is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to make for some great content. It's just what I've been looking for a daily driver. I've had it now for a few days. Today is Tuesday and I picked it up, I think Saturday. I picked it up Saturday, but I had a few problems that we needed to work out before I could actually get out here and show you guys it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and turn the camera around here in 3, 2, 1. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new daily driver. This is my 1979 Jeep CJ5. This is absolutely amazing. It's just what I've been looking for, and I'm going to explain that here in a few minutes why. But first of all, let's just do a walk around. Like I said, this is a 79, and you can tell it's a CJ5 versus a CJ7 because the CJ5 has the notched doorway. Some people call it a carousel door opening. That is the CJ5. The CJ7 basically had the same as the front, and it just kind of made a rectangle. Also, the CJ7s were longer. But let's start up here at the front and kind of walk our way around. As you can see, it is this beautiful red color. This is not the original paint nor the original color. It was originally black, but I personally like the red a lot here. It does have an aftermarket chrome bumper on the front. It also does have fog lights, although they're not hooked up. It is the stock ride height. It does, however, have 32 by, I believe, 11.5-inch tires on it with some wagon wheels on here. These are very popular, especially on the 70s style Jeeps, and they're a really good look. I personally like them a lot. The paint here, this is, by the way, a steel body Jeep, and for being a 79, it is in absolutely amazing condition. It does have a couple spots on the rear quarter, which I'll get to in a minute here, but the frame underneath, everything underneath here is all undercoated and is absolutely solid as a rock. There's no rust on the frame, there's no corrosion anywhere. It's just an excellent shape for how old it is. As you can see, we do have a few dents here on the hood. And the reason, also we do have a crack over here, and I'm not sure if you guys can see this all right because it is very sunny out here, but the reason this happened is when I went to go pick it up from the gentleman, the day I came to pick it up, I noticed this on the hood, which it wasn't there when he sent me over the pictures, and what happened is he was taking it out for a drive the day before I came to take a look at it, and he forgot to latch the hood latches here on the sides, and the actual hood latch itself, the spring is broken on it, so it will not latch. And he had the hood open, forgot to latch these down, and the hood flew up, smacked the windshield. The windshield and the frame is all right. There's no dents or scratches up there. But unfortunately, the hood here is toast. I already do have a fiberglass hood on the way, and a little something maybe goes in the center there. We'll have a little surprise for you guys when that comes in. But let's continue around the Jeep. Pretty much all original. You can see it does have some really nice pinstriping on the side, which unfortunately this isn't going to be able to stay since we're getting a new hood, but it is really amazing, you know. I mean, this is all hand pinstriped on here. This isn't, you know, like a sticker or anything like that. If we go around to the side, the tires here are in excellent shape. They got a ton of tread left on them. They are, what do they say, road handlers. They drive pretty good. The reason that I did have to kind of hold back from showing it to you guys immediately and bringing it out here is because it does have a steering issue, and I know pretty much every CJ5 that you're going to find, it's going to wander, but this one is a little extra. The wandering on this thing is pretty bad. On the way home, it got a little squirrely a few times, and we think we figured out the reason why. First of all, it does not have a steering stabilizer on it, and you know, originally we thought, well, you know, it doesn't have a lift on it, so we probably don't need a steering stabilizer, but because, you know, just how massive the tires are on here, and I know these aren't, you know, ginormous tires for a Jeep, but they're pretty big from stock, so we already have a steering stabilizer on order, but also we think that the steering box here is bad, because it did have a lot of play in it, and actually there is a little adjusting screw on the top here, which we've been playing with, and we turned it in, I think, half a turn, and that helped out a lot. So we're going to go ahead and do another turn on there. This does have power steering on it, which is nice, but you know, a Jeep's really not that heavy, so you really don't need it. So we were actually talking with my uncle, and he said that if we do have to get a new steering box for it, go with a manual steering, because that'll help out a lot with some of the wandering issues as well. Let me go ahead and open the hood here real quick and show you guys what's under the hood of this beast. So under the hood here we have a 304 V8. This is, from my knowledge, the original motor. I decoded the VIN and it did show that it is originally was a V8 car, 304, with a 3-speed transmission. It runs absolutely great. The only issue that we do have with it is the carburetor is pretty much shot, so it needs to be rebuilt or replaced, and we already got a replacement carburetor on the way. It should be here in a couple of weeks. Issues under here, there's really not that many. It has a fairly new radiator, actually it's the original radiator, but it has been repaired. You know, pretty much everything under here is in excellent shape. The Jeep only has a little over 62,000 miles from original, but everything under here is in great condition. The master cylinder, most of the brake stuff on the rear is new. It has new brake shoes. Everything back there is pretty much new. We do have to do some adjusting to the parking brake, but I'll get to that later. It has some new things under here, like a new belt, has a new fuel filter, new fuel pump. A lot of the stuff under here is new, and it's really in excellent condition. It does have quite a few drips underneath, which, you know, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. I do think it's the rear main seal, and also the differentials have a few drips on them, and, you know, honestly, that's not a huge priority for me right now, because, like I said, this is going to be my daily driver, so it doesn't have to be in excellent condition. We'll just have to check the fluids every once in a while. Yeah, but everything under here in the hood is in excellent shape. You know, I mean, like I said, for being a 79, this is in excellent condition. What else we got here? So that's pretty much it under the hood. If we walk around to the side here, you'll notice the rockers on here are in excellent shape. There's no bubbles, there's no rust, there's no holes, there's nothing like that. Like I said, we'll get to the one spot that it does have here in a little bit. The interior in here is awesome. These are, I'm not sure exactly what kind of material this is. They are kind of a cloth material, but they're kind of rough. I'm not sure exactly. I wouldn't call them vinyl because they are kind of a cloth, but they're very nice. It does have a carpet in it, which is really nice, especially for a daily driver like what I'm looking for. And it does have a center console. It is actually down to the locksmith right now getting a key made for it, because I would like to be able to somehow lock stuff inside this Jeep. It does have a new radio in it. I'm not sure the brand. I think it is a dual. It's a dual brand. It has a speaker in the front, and then it has two speakers, one on either side of the seat back there. The rear seat's in great shape. All the seats are in excellent shape. There's no rips or tears in them anywhere. Steering wheel, it's kind of rough. You can see it has a red kind of tinge to it. You can see, I think it was, you know, it's red leather, but it was black, or maybe somebody, you know, dyed it red. I really don't know what happened here, but it's wearing off. So I got a new steering wheel on the way. You can see the play in it just as it's sitting here. I'm not, like I said, you know, my dad used to have a 79, or not a 79, but he used to have a CJ back in the day. And, you know, even when he drove this thing, he said it wandered like crazy. So I'm not sure how much steering or play in the steering is supposed to have, but this does have quite a bit. Also, I do have a new light switch coming because this one gets really hot. And, you know, like I said, being, you know, for the price that I got it and everything, you're gonna have a couple problems here and there. But the buyer, or the seller, was very honest with me. You know, he actually has a whole, you know, list of things that he bought for it, the price he paid for them, the part numbers, everything. So that was awesome. He's got everything that he did to it. So I do have a new light switch coming, and a couple new knobs, such as the wiper switch here. You can see the knobs falling off of there. Just little things here and there. It does also have, because there's a 79, it has the dash cover on it. But yeah, I mean, everything in here is in excellent condition. You got the little roll bar padding there. And also, for safety reasons, we will be putting a full cage in it with a front hoop. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to get rid of the padding here. But if we go down the side, you see the wagon wheels on the back as well. Everything looks great there. The paint really is in really good condition. You can see, you know, there's no real orange peel in it. There's no dirt in the paint. But here's where we get to our problem, and that is right here next to the license plate frame. You can see here we do have a couple big rust spots here. And really, they're about the size of a quarter, I would say, so they're not horrible. And it looks like they have been painted over. So honestly, like I said, for what I'm using it for, you know, I'm driving it in the winter, I'm driving it in the rain, you know, that's totally fine with me if it has a little bit of rust on it. You can see I also did get a period correct 1979 plate for it. You know, I thought that'd be pretty cool to put that on it. If we go around to the back, you can see here, this this is a little whopper jaw. This is the bow for the top. It does have a soft top and soft doors for it. But unfortunately, this one, being whatever brand it is, this does not collapse. So the rear bow does not collapse in to match the front bow. So unfortunately, you have to hold it down with a bungee cord. Now I'm sure there's a better way to do this other than the bungee, but that's the way that the previous owner had it, and I really haven't had time to mess around with it a lot. You also do have a dual tube rear bumper here. This is really nice, you know, it looks great. It doesn't have a spare tire on it, which is kind of odd. I kind of like it without a spare tire, but at the same time, I think it'd be cool, you know, with the whole Jeep thing, you know, I mean, that's a Jeep thing, is the spare tire. We have a single exhaust coming out the back. I'm not sure what kind of muffler it has. I believe it's an original muffler. But yeah, everything under here is solid. You got your fuel cap there. And to come around to this side, you can see the paint there. It's a little wavy. I'm not sure. It looks like, you know, there's some bubbles in the paint, maybe a little bit of rust under there. But like I said, for what I'm using it for, that's totally fine. I could honestly care less about that. As long as there's not gaping holes, you know, or anything, you know, was bondoed together. You know, there's no Bondo in here that we could find. You know, everything is solid here. You know, that's all solid metal everywhere. The only thing is the paint on here is incredibly thick. You can see where the paint here actually started to crack. And what we also noticed is, if we come around to the front here, somebody actually bondoed the grill to the fenders. See that there is no gap inside there. And also, if we come to where the fender meets the body, somebody also did the same thing here. And you can see that it's just starting to crack, but you know, it's not a huge deal. You really can't even notice it unless you're right up here looking at it. And you can see the pinstriping here. I'm not a huge pinstriping fan, but I really like it on here. It's very nicely done. You know, it's not really overly done. And the silver and the black, I think, really complement the red paint. So some things that we are going to be doing to the Jeep. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing to it. First of all, like I said, we're getting a steering stabilizer for it to make it a little bit safer. We're also going to get a front hoop and the halo bars, you know, that connect from the rear roll bar to the front. So that way, if for whatever reason, God forbid, this thing does flip over, I'm not going to get my head squished. Other things up here, we may be getting a new steering box. I'm not sure. We're going to have to see, you know, how much the steering stabilizer does, how much that helps. We're going to be getting a new carburetor. We have that coming in. Like I said, I got a couple things on the inside. I got a new steering wheel, light switch, a knob, wiper knob. You know, just some little things here and there to kind of, you know, clean things up a little bit, you know, make it more user-friendly. And like I said, the issue with the carburetor is that every time you come up to a stop, if you don't stay on the gas a little bit, it'll just stall out. So, you know, it's not like you can't drive it. I was able to drive it out here, and it drives great. Like I said, other than the steering issue, you know, the motor runs great. But yeah, I mean, everything on here is absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and talk about the goods about the Jeep. First of all, it's a CJ5 Jeep. You know, who doesn't want a 1979 CJ5 Jeep? It's just the definition of cool. And, you know, I myself, like I said, for a daily driver, I was looking for something that's cool, something that I'm going to enjoy driving every single day, and something that's going to be pretty reliable. And I think that this Jeep has hit every single button on the head thus far. You know, parts for Jeeps are pretty inexpensive. You know, they're pretty easy to get. You know, there's a ton of Jeep websites that are selling everything, you know, replacement parts and all that stuff for these, so they're very easy to get parts for. And also, you know, it's just a blast to drive. This is the first day that we actually have, you know, the registration and everything done for it, and the first day that I have plates on it. So this is the first day that I've, you know, legally driven it on the road. Of course, we have driven it back and forth to the BMV and so forth. But it is just an absolute blast to drive with the 3-speed stick in there. By the way, the transmission shifts awesome. You know, there's no issues with that, which is great. But, I mean, this thing is just a blast to drive, and you get looks everywhere you go. And the coolest thing about owning a Jeep has got to be the Jeep Wave. You know, when I was driving it home, you know, we live in Toledo, and I drove it home from Dearborn. And as I'm driving this thing, and of course, like I said, with the steering issue, I got both hands on the wheel. I'm scared to death, not trying to roll this thing over. And I probably saw about 12 Jeeps on the way home, and every single one of them was giving me the Jeep Wave, and I'm kind of sitting there driving it. I'm trying to give them the little wave so that I'm not going to go out of control. And it's just awesome, you know, the community that Jeep owners have. And especially I myself being here in Toledo, you know, this is the home of the Jeep. So Jeep Fest is actually this weekend. I'm not going to it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in the parade or anything like that. Please excuse my voice here. I don't know what's going on. I got a cold coming on or something. But yeah, so that is it. Let's talk about the bads here. The bads, really not that much. The only thing, like I said, is the rust in the back. You know, a couple little problems here and there, like the carb and the switches and stuff, and also the hood. You know, this, unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have some people say, well, you know, why don't you just go ahead and fix the hood? Well, if you look here, you can see that this hood is all whacked up. You know, I mean, you got the two big dents up there, you got the crack in the paint here, you got a crack here. You know, I mean, in order to actually fix this thing and to fix it right, it would take way more money, way more time, and way more effort to fix it than if it, you know, if you were to just get a fiberglass hood, paint it, and just bolted it back on. Also, what we're going to be doing is I'm getting some stainless hood hinges for it. For some reason, they painted the hinges on the hood and on the windshield here as well. They painted those body color. So we're going to get stainless hinges along with a stainless grill, you know, the stainless latches. We're just going to go stainless, you know. And the reason I'm doing it on the hood latches, usually I wouldn't really mind it, but I'm going to be doing this because we're going to have the hood off, and instead of worrying about actually cracking the paint or scratching it when you're trying to switch these over later, it'd be, you know, mindful just to do it now. If you go over to the passenger side here, you can see you got your little glove box, and I never realized how small these things actually are on the inside. They're incredibly small, pretty much literally to fit a pair of gloves. That's pretty much all you can fit in there. Here's a better shot of the radio. And I'm surprised, you know, for having only one speaker up in the front here, it really does sound pretty good. But yeah, you know, I mean, we're pretty much just going to be going through this thing, checking everything out, make sure, you know, there's no wiring issues or anything, make sure it's safe. Because like I said, that light switch really did scare me. I was driving it one night, and I came home, and the dashboard itself was actually warm, so it got really hot. Luckily, I caught that before anything bad happened. But yeah, you know, there's some things that were a little half-assed on here, like, for example, this wire here. This is a dead wire. I traced it. It doesn't go anywhere, but I am going to, you know, obviously tape that. You know, if somebody for some reason unhooked the horn button, there's absolutely no horn in the steering wheel, which is so weird. There's no, you know, button on there. The new steering wheel does have a horn, so I'll be able to have a horn with this as well. But that's pretty much it, guys. That is the Jeep. I'm just stoked to be able to have this, and you know, it took me a long time to be able to save up for something like this, and I'm happy as could be. I have no regrets with this thing, even with the carburetor, which I knew about when I bought it. You know, I knew about the issues that it had when I bought it. He was a very honest guy, the seller, and I'm just happy as could be right now. Unfortunately, you can see the skies here in Toledo. They're pretty dark. It's going to be raining pretty much every day this week, which sucks. But, you know, like I said, I do have a top and doors, so if I really wanted to, I could go out and drive it. That's pretty much it, guys. I definitely will have a lot of content coming on this, you know, with the hood, you know, the steering stabilizer, all the things that we're going to be doing to it. I'll have some content on that. But if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to, you know, leave a comment down below, ask any questions, leave any comments. Just got a wave from the guy over there saying cool Jeep, but you know, please leave some suggestions for what kind of videos you want to see with this thing. You know, honestly, I'm just mind blown right now. I'm at a loss for words. You know, I didn't have this video planned out in my mind on what I was going to say here, so I'm just kind of winging it. So that is it, guys. That is the new Jeep. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, like down below, and you'll definitely want to subscribe for this stuff, because there's going to be a ton of awesome content coming on this thing. So definitely make sure to subscribe, share with your friends. Have a great and safe day, guys.